reputation mean a lot. Customized portfolios uniquely tailored to their clients' interests and retirement planning for a secure future. Halstonson Askew Wealth Advisors. Online at hawwealthadv.com. Securities and advisory service offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. 10 days until Election Day, Vice President Harris continued to lean on star power, cheering Beyonce's endorsement at a Houston rally.
Are y'all ready to add your voice to the new American song? Because I am.
Former President Trump was in Michigan.
I think everyone here is going to be voting. Everyone. We just can't take it for granted. We have to get out and vote.
Polls showing the race neck and neck. ABC News White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks on the results of a New York Times Siena poll.
It showed that Harris only had a 12-point lead with young voters under 30. By comparison, Biden won that group by 24 points. So obviously Harris and Democrats really worried about whether young voters are going to stay home and whether they're going to come out for her in ways they have come out for Democrats in the past.
Fresh concerns about cyber attacks impacting the race for the White House.
Chinese hackers have targeted cell phones connected with both campaigns as we enter the final phase of the presidential race, including phones formerly used by former President Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance. We're also told that phones associated with the Harris-Walsh campaign were targeted as well. Sources telling us the hackers breached a number of major service providers, including AT&T and Verizon. The question, how far were they able to go?
ABC News Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas. Israel overnight launching what it called precise retaliatory strikes against Iran. The IDF saying it targeted military capabilities and not oil production.
A senior administration official says this should be the end of direct military exchange between Israel and Iran. This official says that Israel's strikes on multiple military targets in Iran were both precise and targeted. This official says that Israel did notify the U.S. ahead of the strike, but underscored that there was no U.S. involvement.
ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang in Washington. You're listening to ABC News.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive presents 10 things on a contractor's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Bidding a new client, giving an accurate estimate, finding affordable materials, getting a client to pay you for work you already did, getting a client to pay you, period, securing permits and workers and tools, getting those workers and tools to work together, and finding the perfect pair of overalls. Pockets, baby. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Sunny skies to start off your weekend. It will turn breezy as we head throughout the day today. South-southeast about 10 to 20, but highs will be in the upper 50s to near 60. Then overnight, we'll drop down to a low in the mid-30s and another sunny day on Sunday, but it is going to be breezy out of the south-southeast, 15 to 25, and highs in the mid to upper 60s. Near record warmth on Monday with highs in the low 70s before a chance of rain comes in for Tuesday and Wednesday. From the WDAY Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
We love our pets, accidents and messes included. Shaw Floor's Pet Perfect Carpet helps you love confidently with protection from everyday messes and odors. Designed with the whole family in mind, Pet Perfect features built-in protection from staining, fading, and pet hair. Make tails wag with Shaw Floor's Pet Perfect. Designed for you, perfect for your pet.
Available at Carpet World, 17th Avenue South, online at carpetworldfargo.com.
Game on! Game on! Game on! He shoots, he scores! 1 for 1! That is going wild! Score!
The hockey guys are on the air.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
The hockey guys. The tradition continues.
Okay, guys. Show us what you got.
Hold on a sec. I'm gonna get me
Welcome to the Hockey Guys. Hey.
Here's to Jeffy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I hope you guys are in a little better mood than me. I'm a little upset and angry this morning. I won't get into it. But
I'm just glad I made it.
Yeah. Your mic's not on now. Is it on now, Eddie?
I don't know. Is my
Hey,
mic on?
Dr. Phil, they obviously never heard of Vince Lombardi before. If you're on time, you're late. And 10 minutes early, you're on time.
I was early for my daughter's drop-off.
If you're 10 minutes before a show like ours and you're here, you're a half hour freaking late as far as I'm concerned.
I can't believe that I had to get the hams out. I had to get Wils's Clamato out. Holy smokes, life's getting tougher for guys that want to work.
Hey,
I look around, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. Eddie Christian, Dean Wilson, Dr. Phil, right? Moving forward in your life, do you want to be good or do you want to be better? Eddie.
For guys that want to work, it's sure getting tough. You have to do everything today.
Hey, on a lighter note, I got to throw this out at you, Jeff. You'll like this one, okay? I get 3 calls last week. Dr. Phil, you're going to like this one, too. 3 calls last week. A guy goes, we love your show. Last Saturday was the best show. Last Saturday was the best show you guys ever did.
Hey.
Wills wasn't on
we
it.
missed you, buddy.
And I laugh. I go, you guys are good friends, right? I love you like a 5th cousin.
Hey.
Which you have in Canada.
And you do in War Road, too. A lot of anger this morning.
We can't argue about that, Doc.
No.
Can we know? Oh, no, we
can't.
agree. Cheers.
Hey, Valley Imports. Valley Imports.
Hams, buddy.
Valley Imports. Thank you. Valley owns. Bring the Hockey Guys. Pre-owned Valley, as well as the best price leader in the region. Find your next vehicle at valleyimports.com. So Jeff's having his 3rd hams this morning. He gets a little ornery when he has
he got up on the wrong side of the futon this morning.
It started yesterday afternoon, but nevertheless. Hey, big game last night up north in God's country in Grand Forks. Huh?
Wow. If you're worried about offense.
For only 9 minutes, then it was over.
Were you up there, Dr. Phil?
Oh, yeah.
I thought, wow.
I can't believe how they came out of the chute, and it was over. I mean, Boston had no answer.
That was a big proving game because Boston's rated high up there.
Whew.
You know, those 2 power play goals, just boom, boom.
Wow. They lit that goaltender up like red. I was surprised that he stayed it as long as he did. I'd have pulled him after
4
3.
goals on 6 shots?
Yeah.
Ooh.
After only 10 minutes.
But Lacroix, is that how you pronounce his name?
You know who that is? You know who it is?
No.
That's Pierre Lacroix's grandson.
Really?
Remember general manager for the Avs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his grandson.
Well, he came in and shut North Dakota down for.
Yeah. He only gave up 2 goals.
Yeah.
The early North Dakota goals were not on the goaltender.
No, that's a team thing, but still.
But North Dakota handled that power play. They that puck was flying. In that first period, Wills, the players were close to each other, short, crisp passes on the stick. They were moving, right?
Yeah, they're moving their feet.
And then they kind of spread the pass out, long passes to break out of the offensive zone from almost the goal line to the far blue line at center ice. The short, crisp passes, puck support and all that first period was absolutely beautiful. And I don't know if that was intentional by Boston University to spread out and allow those UND to do that so they could get some open ice. But, man, every time Boston came down on a 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 3-on-2, no 3-on-1s, 3-on-2s, there were 3 guys back right now. I mean, they were playing shorthanded almost the whole game on the offensive side of the puck. And
the back checking by the forwards last night was really
incredible, wasn't it?
Really good. Hey, here's a fun fact for you. So the last time Boston University played the University of North Dakota and lost 7-2. Guess who was on the roster
For Boston?
for North Dakota?
Probably myself.
Dixon Ward. And Dixon Ward had his final turn last night. Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
100 goals, 100 assists in 3 years. That's quite a feat.
We used to beat BU all the time by those scores.
Jackson Kuntz putting 2 goals on net last night.
And he had a chance for his hat trick right at the end, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
And Ben Strinda comes down that power forward move, just hard, and then lets that shot go far side. That's the money shot, right?
I was glad to see him score.
30 seconds later, he hits the pipe.
Yeah.
Same move. But that was good for him to score.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Wills? You're pretty quiet this morning.
No, but, a great game, and I was just thinking of home ice advantage, right? The Rel's hard to play in, and there's a lot of buildings out there that are the same, We talk about the regionals and stuff, doggone it, put them where people deserve, right? But one thing, you guys always throw this out at me, what caught you last night? The big game that caught me last night was the Gophers against St. Thomas. Mm-hmm. And I thought, when I read that score, I didn't see the game, but when I read that score, I thought of this. You're the new kids on the block still, St. Thomas. We're the Gophers. You know what I mean? And the Gophers are the Gophers. We pick on them here and there, but Minnesota, they're always strong. Every year they're expected to win. But, obviously I don't know the details of that game, but 7-1 is kind of a spanking.
But could the Gophers beat them in the playoffs?
Eddie, we want to expand this radio station. We want to expand it, But no, the Gophers, good job with them beating St. Thomas 7-1.
Well, St. Thomas had 21 shots on net. Minnesota had 33.
Sacred Heart? Oh, that's that other school out east.
And you had Jimmy Snuggerud, 3 points, 3 assists last night.
Starting to crank it up.
And is Sam Renzel, is he a program player, or where did he come from?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Boy, he's all over the score sheet along with Matthew Woods. Every game.
Yeah.
Pretty typical, we'll say. We start running through the score. St. Cloud was up 4-0 at one point. But 2-2 game. St. Cloud goes up to Augustana is still hanging in there. I think that was an interesting game watch. And then Denver, Wisconsin. Any surprise there?
I think Denver's taken off where they left off.
Well, it was 2-2 going into the third. So, Wisconsin is getting back into it.
I was watching that one because it was an even game.
Yep.
Denver scored a goal.
Denver, again, throw this. Denver, close games. It'd be fun to watch going into the third one-goal game how many times they stay or win. They are a third period interesting team.
Altitude.
Denver put in the 4th goal to take off, win the game late in the third period with about a minute and a half left. The interesting fact on that, from a coaching's perspective, Wisconsin was 0 for 6 on the power play.
Ouch.
Denver was 1 of 6 on the power play.
Really? Wow.
Valley Imports, thank you. Ham's Beer, cheers. And Beverage Wholesalers are sponsoring the first intermission. This intermission is brought to you, and Ham's still brewed that true family tradition using the purest water and choicest barley grain and a hop. So thank you to Ham's and Beverage Wholesalers for sponsoring the hockey guys.
Should say Garrett LeBoyne, head coach, Augustana, will be in at 9:30, and we'll be back with the hockey guys right after this. Hey, welcome back to the Hockey Guys. Hey, Garrett LeBoyne will be head coach. Augustana will be on with us in about, at 9:34-ish. If you have any questions, 293-9000, 293-9000. You can give him a call.
Hey, just a shout out to the NFL referees that are listening to this game.
There
was a face mask called last night, and I would have them review that during the North Dakota hockey game. Then you'll see what a real face mask call is.
Well, you know what? Boston did what they needed to do. You know, they were getting their tail kicked, right? Old-time hockey says, hey, we're not – they got a lot of pride, a lot of very, very talented players. We were talking during the break. Eiserman's got his hands are so quick, isn't he? It's like Brett Hall. Brett Hall had hands like that where he could score anywhere on the ice. That if the puck was on it, boom, there it went. You know, a couple quick scores, and then we can finish this off. But Lindenwood 4, Miami 2.
Miami's just not there.
I know, but they're in the NCHC. That's the hiccup.
Well, I know, but
we got to make a trade there for Minnesota State Mankato.
Or Augustana.
Number 18 knocked off number 16 Omaha last night 4-3.
Yeah.
You know what an interesting score, Doc, and we can talk about this, is the U.S. development team exhibition game against number 10 Michigan. Final score 5-4. Michigan wins in overtime. You would think that game would be
and
with
that's
how talented Michigan is. That team should be game should be a blowout.
And you know, I was sitting with the USA Hockey scout last night, Mark Boxer, and he's telling me that the 17 team is even better.
Ooh.
So, and it's interesting how that all plays, you know, because those kids can really dial it up. They get some elite level players, but he said, watch out for the 17 team. They are really good.
Well, again, if you look at scores and games, and we come live Saturday mornings here on the Hockey Guys, St. Cloud State whooped up Michigan 4-0 last Saturday, so Michigan is in a spot where they've not been in a couple of years.
I think their goaltending's a little weak, and a little bit of a retool probably. They lost McGroarty to Pittsburgh. He was going to come back and be one of their forwards, then right at the last minute.
Big guy, right?
Yeah, you know, and I don't know. I mean, he's a good player. I mean, he's not.
And just to tie the ribbon around the UND game, the gold medal around the neck, at least last night. We know tonight is another game, right? 0-0. But UND's goaltender played very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
But so did the defense in front of him.
Kind of a tough way for BU to go out and respect Mr. Rosioni turning 70 earlier in the week. When you tie a gold medal around BU playing at North Dakota, that wasn't exactly a birthday present for the ages, was it, Jeff?
No. But it was a nice welcome back home for Dixon Ward.
Yeah.
You know, there was a great article that was published, and it was reprinted or republished in the NCHC website. Great website full of good information about Coach Mayak at Colorado College, which is the 10th ranked team right now, and I think in the polls, at least last night they were.
Number 9.
And what Coach Mayock said is this, that they have stayed away from the portal purposefully. And the freshmen that they brought in, they played them. He said they made mistakes. But they learned. He said their sophomore years, less mistakes, and they're learning more. He says what he's looking for is that junior, senior year. And when you go back and look at the time he arrived at Colorado, till even last year, how they improved every year, right? with that historic program. And that's something that Garrett LeBoyne at Augustana had talked about when we interviewed him last year about how he was going to build his team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so many times you bring in the shiny little object from the portal and you're sitting some good young freshmen that need the opportunity to play, learn, make mistakes. They're going to be studs, right? When they're older. And I just look at McLaughlin right now for North Dakota. Look at Kuntz. Look what he's done every year. Look at Ben Strinden, right? Now, if those guys couldn't have played in their first 2 years, what would they be like now? And the freshmen, because they get frustrated, then they leave. They enter the portal and they're gone.
Well, and I think in Coach Mayotte, what he's doing is rebuilding the culture at Colorado College. I mean, they were down for a long time, and he is of the strong belief that you build a culture from within, and you don't necessarily get these, one and gone, guys. The other thing that I think is probably important is the NIL comes involved with that. Colorado College is probably not able to support a big NIL and, get some of these guys that are demanding big dollars. And that is that going to ruin college hockey? I hope not, but it's certainly making its mark on football and the other sports. So,
I think it's going to make a mark on hockey, and I think it's going to give it a big black eye.
Yeah, well, I do too. There's no loyalty at all anymore. And I think he's doing the right way. He's trying to rebuild the culture in that program, and he's doing a great job.
It used to drive me nuts when kids would come to me and they go, "That's not how we did it. The super duper elites. We did it this way, coach." They'd come on the ice with all these poofy, fancy jerseys, and I said, "Yeah, you play for Boston Bruins, you're going to wear a Montreal Canadian jersey on your practice and stuff. What are you, nuts?" And when you like you said, you kids get all these different ideas of doing different things, and when coaches say that, like Coach Barry, we're doing it UND's way. So drop those. And I used to tell players, I don't mind if you come out to me and go, "Hey, let's do a 1-2-2 forecheck," but drop that. The super duper elites used to do it that way. Just come out to me and go, "What do you think of doing it this way?" And that's what I used to say to guys. Who do you play for? You play for the Bruins. You play for South. That's the South way. So don't give me all this other crap. It segues back to what you're saying, Jeff. You're bringing these guys, Colorado College, like you said, their culture, their way. How do you build that back up again?
Well, last year they missed the NCAA tournament by .0004 comparison points.
Which was wrong. They should have been in the tournament.
One of the narrowest cutoffs ever.
Yeah.
Missing the playoffs by the automatic bids from Atlantic Hockey and the WCHA. But a really good article that was published. The other interesting fact is the young Jackson Blake.
Yeah.
Taken off with the Hurricanes, huh?
That doesn't surprise me. He's a good player.
Yeah, he was ready. He was ready.
I just wonder if there was there was a good article about him that talked about how he has energized kind of an older roster with his youthfulness coming in. And you need that. You need those young guys and you need the older vets, right? But he's produced 2 goals early in this season.
There are a couple of old Thunder Bay guys on there.
I don't know.
All the guys that come on the Thunder Bay are
on that club. But
he is Jordan Stahl, the captain.
They've been printing false birth certificates at Thunder Bay since when I was born.
Well, I laugh because you Americans got rules for rules. They go, "Hey, Wilson, you want to go down for a tournament in Duluth?" And I go, "Sure." They go, "Your name is Jacques Plante today."
Well, here's the quote from your friend, Jordan Stahl.
All right.
Okay.
All right. And we had a good quote from him that you got this summer, but we couldn't have time before the show to get it. But he says he's been really good so far, talking about Jackson Blake. We were all happy for him when he scored his first goal. Captain Jordan Stahl said He was so excited. That was infectious. We all remember what it was like at that age, and it's good to have him here.
Excellent. You know, I always think about when you're in the pros, though, you have such a wide range of age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most places, you're 2 years apart or whatever. Most places are 3 years, but get to the pros, you got a 20-year-old and you could have a 30-plus-year-old, you know, and how to coach those guys.
It's fun to see him not thinking he has to press all the time because now he has players with him, and I think he was trying a little bit too hard to be
somebody
the
to
player.
thank
So
here, Eddie.
we've got Citywide Electric, our intermission sponsor. This intermission experience you can trust for design, repair, and installation of any home or business electrical project. That's CitywideElectricND.com.
Welcome back to the Hockey Guys, one of the hottest teams in college hockey. Augustana University out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We talked with Coach Garrett Raboyne last year about his growing the team and his recipe for success, and that success is showing off early this year. Coach Garrett Raboyne, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, guys. We're doing good.
Good morning, Garrett.
Well, listen, you started the season off with a nice victory over North Dakota, walking in thereafter to Omaha, picking up 2 wins there, and then you battled a perennial top-ranked team in the NCHC last night to a 4-3 loss. Your team has really, really developed, Coach, and we have to tell you, congratulations.
No, I appreciate it, and it's still so early, but we feel like we're, growing in the right direction. We're taking on the big boys, and that's important for us because, you see where you're at, but you're learning on the fly because there's a lot of things that these teams that are in the tournament, most years they do so well. So I think our staff's learning. I think these players are learning. There's some belief that's starting to come about within the group, and year one was fun, but this year two seems to be off to one heck of a start, and we're really enjoying them.
Hey, Garrett, I have a question for you. You guys were bumped up a year to the CCHA. Will you be an active member this year, or is that next year?
So the regular season schedule is still kind of a hybrid. So we play every league opponent, the other 8 teams, once, but we are eligible for the CCHA playoffs based on a points percentage.
Okay. And then will you be then eligible for the NCAA playoff if you would perhaps win that tournament?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. Pairwise eligible and league tournament winner eligible.
Awesome. Does that change your mental focus on the game? Because all of a sudden now every game matters, whereas last year maybe it didn't matter as much because you weren't allowed to really play for something. But this year you're playing for something.
Yeah, you know what? In the day-to-day, it doesn't. I'm a believer that if you're on the outdoor rink, you better want to win that game just as much as if you're at the Herb Brooks National Hockey Center.
No doubt.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Beating your buddies is sometimes more enjoyable than beating somebody you don't know, right, Garrett?
Hey, we only have so many chances to play this darn sport, so
that's right.
You better get out there and get after it.
You lost an assistant coach, a great ambassador to hockey, a great ambassador to men, a great ambassador to what it's like to be a husband and father. And Dean Wilson coached Chad. Eddie coached Chad. I coached him. And we've watched him grow as a human being and as a coach and as a player. And we've had him on the show. We try to get him on every year. And last year we tried, and we weren't able to with his health situation. But that had to be a little sucker punch to the gut after Chad's passing.
Well, it is, and we still feel so much for Danica and those kids and family. But the only thing we can do right now, because Chad meant so much to us, and he's a man's man. He's a hockey guy. He's just like all of us, right? Think of this. Chad Demers is sitting there. He gets 6 years ago. He got a diagnosis, and the doctor says you got about 5 years at the most, and he lived 6, and that's him. He just was such a fighter, and he chose to use. He's got 1 year left, and he comes down to Augustana and helps us start a program. And I can tell you, I don't know if I've been around someone that's shaped me in such a short amount of time. The impact he had on me personally, our staff and our guys, in hockey was just a piece of it. Just blessed. Like sometimes people come into your life when you least expect it, and miss him like crazy, but so fortunate for the time we had.
Garrett, this is Dean Wilson here, and twofold. I was going to talk about, not really ask you a question, but the twofold was, one is great start for your team, but the second one is Midco Sports. I interviewed you, and it was the wow factor for me. I had the similar situation with Tony Dyker, was a goalie coach of mine, and he passed away during the season. And but you just it was just class the way you handled it, because we talked about the same thing. You know, we playing for Tony, we playing for Chad, but you just wordsmith. It was just excellent. I just wanted to throw it out to you. I mean, I get emotional just thinking about your interview, but it was good, and yeah, it was just good job, Garrett.
No, I appreciate it, and you know, for me, you're talking from the heart, because it's one of those situations. There's no right words. Nothing takes it away, but darn, do we miss him? So many do, and you know, just again, though, fortunate boy. What a guy.
Well, you could hear it in Coach Wilson's voice just asking that question, the love and respect that we had for Chad. Say, Coach, Eddie went through your roster this morning and said you're the third-ranked team in the country with the most Minnesota players, the 218ers, as we call them. Stay out of there. Those are North Dakota boys, Coach.
Well, what do you mean? You guys know North Dakota got Dean Blaze back in the day, and they've had a few others, but you know, there's no secret. I think with who I am as a coach, there's some connection with the 218ers, and we enjoy our guys.
Detroit Lakes.
And once in a while we throw in the 701ers, because that includes where Jeff kind of came out of.
Well, you got to keep an eye on those North Dakota boys. Hey, we just had a
Cameron Berg.
Yeah, well, Cameron Berg's from North Dakota. Jackson Kuntz has scored 2 goals last night. You've got, well, you look at North Dakota roster with Fargo kids, West Fargo boys, Grand Forks kids.
Kuntz may have matched Jeff's total in his college career last year.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it's we had a boy from West Fargo this year who was a junior that just committed to Arizona State University, who's a heck of a player. West Fargo Packers. So you take a look at the teams in the Fargo community here. You're talking 5-6 teams with Moorhead. They're frankly some of the top teams in North Dakota and Minnesota combined, and I think the college recruits are starting to pay attention to the talent here in the Fargo metro area. It's kind of like Sioux Falls. There's some damn good hockey players there.
So, coaches,
there is. Go ahead.
Eddie must not have liked my question.
I thought it was a statement.
Well, Eddie wants to talk about the wrong Dakota all the time. Swing it around here. Come south.
Hey, I've been south. When I'm in the house, I text you, so we're all good. But just to,
you just show up.
Hey, yeah, that's exactly it. Kind of a little like lots of those guys that were at St. Cloud. They just show up. So, Garrett, it's kind of fun to watch as we look at something that a lot of folks in this part of the area look at, and you're sitting again in Sioux Falls, and you have the third most Minnesota players in college hockey on your roster. And I think, again, some things you kind of don't look at, but that's got to be pretty concerning to the St. Thomases, the Duluths, the North Dakotas, the Gophers. I mean, and now with that group, you're just beginning to have what I think will be a lot of success. So in your mind, in your place where you came out of, I mean, we all know that there was a lot of area that maybe didn't always get looked at, but I think that's where Jeff's question was going to, and I wanted to jump in. How do you look at the recruiting into that segment that you've been so successful at?
I think for me, you are who you are, and at St. Cloud, we had a good group of Minnesota guys, but we were able to supplement elsewhere. So our core was Minnesota guys. Then you go to the University of Minnesota, you know, you're living in Minnesota, that's who you're watching, but you supplement Matthew Nyes from Arizona, Sampo Ranta from Finland, Jack LaFontaine. Now, those are 2 All-Americans, the first outside of the state of Minnesota for the U. But recruiting is all your connections, and I'm a Minnesota guy. That's where all my buddies live. That's that's where I recruited the bulk of the players over the last decade, is out of Minnesota. So when we start a program, you got to think it's just me in an office with one other guy trying to fill 27 guys on a roster. Well, I had to lean on so many people that have helped me along the way in terms of recruiting, and a lot of those guys are Minnesota. That's who I felt comfortable with, because you're recruiting a person. There's a player out there that hopefully matches the way you want to play, but you got to bring good dudes onto campus, and you got to lean on people you really trust. And it just so ended up they're Minnesota guys. Now, do we end up with more South Dakotans in the future? I sure hope so. We're still in Europe a little bit. We have a Slovenian, we have a Belarusian committed. We're supplemented with some outside talent, but at our core, I think we'll continue with Minnesota guys.
You're building fantastic culture there in Augustana University. Coach Garrett LeBoyne, thank you for being a great friend of our show, and I'll make sure I put a leash on Eddie to not have him just stop in and grab a beverage out of your refrigerator and ask for a tour of your facility. So,
no, Eddie's got to keep me in line. He coaches the coaches, so send him down.
That's a scary thought.
Go win tonight, Coach. Go win.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Listen, we'll be back right after this, and we want to thank Ham's Beer
and
as a
Gateway
sponsor
Chev,
of this
our period sponsors. So
absolutely.
Gateway Chevrolet, thanks for being with the hockey guys.
Hey, Wilson is back just like when we were in college, baby. Shaking and baking on the dance floor. All welcome, right?
On the table, not on the floor.
I loved, was level 7 in the Spud Bar, right?
I bet you were a table dancer, huh?
And Frenchies.
Yeah, but I always got the card table and fell through.
Welcome back
started
to
the
the
Buffalo
hockey
train.
guys. I have one comment. I can see why Augustana has slowly developed into one of the, well, I say quickly, it's been 2 years, but you can see the building progress coming. And Coach LeBoyne is one of the top coaches in the country. Look what he's done. Starting that program, building a rink, getting players in, right? His top assistant passes away. You could just, but it's a little engine that could, right?
Well, as a head coach, there's a lot of pieces to it. Coaches come and go, but he just has the whole package. He's recruiting hard. He knows what he knows. Like you talked about the Minnesota, he knows Minnesota. If you know it, go after it, right? And then he just saying the right things as a leader, as a head coach, and I just love that. He's a great guy to interview, and he's just doing the right things.
Well, he knows, everyone knows who the best players are, right? The question is, are those the best players to bring into your program to develop the culture of your program? And that's where the investigation as to who's mom, who's dad, right? Who's the siblings? What do they do off the ice? How do they act? How do they behave? Are they a good citizen? Are they not? Are they a good student, right? And that's where people within that 218 area code who know players and know the families can give that backup secondary information to a coach to decide whether they want this player in their program. And that's where Garrett obviously feels comfortable, right?
Right.
Well, the longer you coach, you get connected, right? These guys are connected with literally the world. And I remember, like, Dean Blaze, I call them bird dogs, every state, every province, and they know. I go, your job, he could call up somebody up in Manitoba and go, he wouldn't even have to look at the player and go, this is a top Manitoba player right now. You got to get him, Blazer. And, they didn't even see him, but he knows, he trusts those bird dogs wherever they're at, and you have to be connected to those people. Coaches that are established are connected with everything.
I thought it was great that Coach Verboyne referenced Dean Blaze, because that's subtly he told you, hey, I paid attention here and watched how some of these guys recruited, so I thought there may be a little bit of a
hard to knock a good
there.
Roseau boy, though.
Yeah, but look at Denver. They had 6 guys from Calgary, so tell me he's not connected with Alberta.
Oh, absolutely.
Gateway Chevrolet, where you can save big on a Chevy Silverado, Equinox, or Blazer. Go online at fargochevrolet.com. Thanks for being this period sponsor. We also want to give a little shout-out, Fargo Force, Bagan Strinden, Dakota Refrigeration, Welton's Tire Service, Carpet World, Halstonson, Askew Wealth Management for regularly being involved with the hockey guys.
I got 2 questions for you guys. I got a text from somebody going, why aren't the Gophers and UND playing? Did they rotate, or what's the deal on that?
They rotate.
They rotate.
They got to deal with the Big Ten. Yep.
So they have to wait their turn to play the Gophers again, or vice versa.
Right. Well, and it's with Wisconsin, too.
I got you. And the other one I have is, I was thinking about this. Have they voted yet at the NCAA about junior players from Canada? Is that a done deal where it doesn't matter anymore, or what?
It's coming.
I don't think they have. And in talking with Mark Boxer yesterday, I don't think it's done yet.
It's coming.
Yeah. And my other question is that, and your thoughts, you guys. You guess the United States Hockey League, right? You only can have so many imports. Do you waive that in the borders? Like, I'm thinking, if it goes through, does that mean more Americans are going to go up to play juniors in Canada and come back down and play college?
The concern is it'll open up. Yes, the college coaches are concerned.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
That the player will go after the money first. But what are we doing here? NIT has forced us to.
Was that the Clamato juice that was boiling in the back of your mouth?
No, that was a cold. That was a cold from Deer Camp when I stopped in 2 weeks ago at Wils's place up there at Twin Lakes.
Well, if you would have quit drinking out of everybody's glass, you wouldn't have got it. Joe had a bad cold, man.
I grew up with one water jug, and you go in there, it was good to see one water jug.
I remember one time we had 2 players got mono, and our coach comes with those little Dixie riddle cups on the bench, and we just threw them out. We're sucking on the big water bottles anyway.
Okay, so here's a question for you guys. So how much hockey is too much as far as saturating a area? And I'm specifically talking about like Sioux Falls. Now, Sioux Falls is about the size of Fargo. They've got the USHL. And then they've got now Augustana.
They're larger than Fargo.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
Oh, well.
But that's a good,
was your question going to be?
So the question is going, is when is too much, or is that the right mix? Or it seems like it's working well here in Fargo, and it seems like, the high schools are still doing okay. Still seems like the college, Concordia is doing okay. And then you've got the USHL, and you're just making those next steps. But we don't have a Division I program in Fargo. Sioux Falls now does.
Yeah, that's interesting. But one thing you've left out, you got the USHL, but you also have the North American Hockey League.
Yeah.
The NO.
Yeah.
And they have Tier 1 and Tier 3 in that program. And collectively, the NO, with the number of teams that they have all around the country, send more players to Division I college hockey than the USHL.
Ben Struthers.
So let's flip it here. Yeah. Does it hurt basketball, football, or baseball?
Who cares?
No, but my point is they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. They're saturated. That's the American teams, right? Baseball, basketball, football. So I love the growth of hockey. So that kind of answers your question. Does it hurt it or not?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. And what is that level that it does? And I don't know if anybody knows the answer to that question.
We're watching it happen. You have to win to get fans. If you win too much, you lose them.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Right? You need to win to get fans.
Yeah.
If you become to the point where you're always winning, then the fans get disinterested.
Complacent, yeah.
And complacent. So it's an interesting cycle to watch.
Yeah.
And we're going to watch it go through every sport. We're watching it with the major sport in Fargo.
Well, they talk about motivation. If it's
the Fargo Force, Fargo Force have done well. The major sport in Fargo, I would say, is the Fargo Force, right?
Well, they've done really well.
And the high schools are doing well.
We got 3 guys smiling here.
Well, motivation again. If it's too easy, you lose interest, and if it's too hard, you lose interest. And I'll throw it out the elephant in the room. Bison football. You go to game, and they got a great program. It's not knocking them at all. They're great, Bison football. But when you go to game and you're up 40-0, by halftime you're looking at, do we stay for the rest or we go home? You know what I mean?
So it's out in the parking lot.
So it's balanced, all balanced.
Speaking of the Fargo Force, they have a team that's going to another championship level team. They didn't rebuild; they just
not
retooled.
sure this week who made the statement, but somebody in college football said it's semi-pro football. It is no longer college football. You just need to identify what it is. It's semi-pro football.
Oh, absolutely, the NIL has done that.
And hockey needs to be cautious.
If you're trying to guarantee play.
Sean, Cody, and Brent use knowledge to assist in designing a solution that makes your life easier. City